I'm on my way to heaven, traveling night and day, sometimes stumbling.
Welcome to FT Espresso Show, Bishop Hargrove.
Well, thank you very much for having me here.
Now, I hear you in the music business, you singing as well. And your group is named, what's the name of it?
The Biships Quartet.
Okay, so how long y'all been singing?
We've been singing for about 5 years. The group was formed in 2009 in Alabama. We were at a women conference and down in Alabama in 2009 in October. And the chairman of our board, we call it Bishops Board, and we have our convention, our conference at the same time that the women have theirs, in the same place that they have theirs. And so the name was, of the bishop at that particular time, there was the chairperson, was Bishop Darby, and he wanted to start a quartet from that bishop's board. And so we sung that night. We rehearsed and we sung that night. And then when we got back home, we started putting things together. And I'm one of the original, and there's only one more original, Bishop Palmer. He's in Orlando, Florida. He is in Orlando, Florida, and he is the manager. And so now we have Bishop Coleman, James Coleman. He is from Petersburg, Virginia. And we have another gentleman who is a minister, who is a associate minister in another church. But there are 3 bishops and 1 minister. So that make up the quartet. And so it's been quite fulfilling because we work at it very hard to try to become what we should become. And it's very taxing, very trying, because we have churches and we have regions that we are over. And so that we have to wear different hats at different times, and sometimes it's difficult to pull off one hat and put on another one. And then we have, not only that, we have wives, and we have to work with that, and they have to work with us, you know, as far as keeping things under control. And so far we've done a very good job with that, and we have very, very understanding wives, and that's a great thing.
Yes.
That's a great thing.
That's a very great thing. When they say you ain't happy, their wife ain't happy at home.
Look, nobody happy, right?
That's right.
That's right, nobody's happy.
So do they go on tour with y'all?
Yeah, they have been on tour with us. They go quite a bit. Very, very seldom do we go anywhere and they do not go. Very seldom. There are sometimes they can't, you know, but for the most part they do.
So who writes y'all music?
Well, I'm not a writer, but we have my son. I have a son that my namesake, Thurman Hargrove Jr. He is our producer, our engineer, and he writes music as well. And he has one of his songs on the CD. Heaven is the place I want to be. That song is on the CD. The other songs that are on there, I wrote 2 of them. One of them is prayer. It's about prayer. I wrote that one. I know what prayer can do. The other one that I wrote was about a friend in Jesus, a friend in Jesus, and I arranged that one, those two, as well. But I'm better at arranging songs than I am writing songs. I can arrange it. That writing is not my best gift at all. But if someone else write it, I can arrange it, and I may be able to sing it a little bit. Yeah. If someone else write it, but we have a well-rounded group. It's a quartet, so that there are four of us, and we have to play many different roles. It's not like a group that have 5, 6, or 7 members, because we have to play different roles within the group as far as parts that we sing. If I sing lead, someone else would have to alternate and sing maybe first tenor, and if that person sang lead, I have to go back in the background and sing first tenor. There are times I have to do baritone, and we just switch up like that to make the group well-rounded. It's not something that we do, that I do. I'm not a baritone singer, but I do pretty good when I work at it. And there are some songs on the CD that I do baritone on, but I do very well, I think, with first tenor. And so we switch up like that. But the group is a well-rounded group. I love working with the group. I really love working with the group. We have good rehearsals. When we come into rehearsal, we come in to rehearse. That's what we are there for. And that's what we do for hours and hours. And we don't get tired. We don't get tired. A lot of times when we quit, it's because we want to make sure that our wives are not at home, grumbling because we've been gone too long. So we'll quit and go home, but we don't get tired of that, and that's what has helped us a whole lot in pulling things together. I sung when I was young in Quartet, and I got married at 19 years old, and that my singing career was over at that time, and because I wanted to sing professionally way back then, but I got married, and I believe that when you get married, everything changes. I always believed that.
That's true.
And I was not about to leave my wife at home and I travel all over the country somewhere. I wasn't about to do that. So I gave it up, and I allowed myself to just minister songs from the pulpit. When I preach or something, I was singing songs or something like that, and I was satisfied with that. I made myself satisfied until 2009, when our chairperson of the Bishop board wanted to form a group, and then I was drafted into the quartet. I'm glad I was.
That's good, yeah. Since you always had it in your background and wanted that.
I've always wanted to do it.
Sounds almost like a country music.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to practice. How's the tour? You say your wife go with y'all. So how is the tour going? You got somewhere y'all going soon?
Well, they go with us, but normally we practice extensively, very extensively, the week that we go on tour.
Okay.
We practice all along, but very extensively then. And when our wives are with us, most of the time we drive our automobile.
Okay.
But now when we have to go long distance, we drive a van, and all of the men, the band and the group ride the van, so the wives usually don't go when we go long distance. Like, yeah.
Now, you was telling me you work with your group,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have 20 churches under you that you have to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You have your wife,
Yes.
kids
Kids are grown. They're all
out the way.
out the way now.
But that's still a lot to manage, ain't it?
There's a lot to manage. There's a lot to manage. Because the churches that I'm pastoring I have to shuffle between them as well. And I have assistants in those churches. And after a while, the membership began to get a little uneasy when I don't show up,
Okay.
for a certain period of time.
Right.
They began to get a little uneasy, and so I have to visit all of them periodically. And sometimes if I go to one, maybe twice, and go to another one once, I'll hear some grumbling.
Okay.
You went to them twice. You didn't come to us but one time.
Okay.
Okay, and you have all of that.
That sounds like your kids.
Yeah, you have all of that to deal with, but I love it.
Right.
I just love it. I love pastoring. I love singing,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't take nothing for it. I wouldn't take nothing for it. And every member of the group love what they do.
Okay.
They love what they do. When we rehearse, we are there with one accord. That's what we're there with, one accord, to make sure that we perfect what we're doing. And this is what I believe. First of all, I don't believe that practice makes perfect.
You don't?
I don't. I believe that perfect practice makes perfect.
Oh, okay.
Perfect practice makes perfect, not practice. Because you can practice wrong, and you know it. So, and that's what one of the things that I say a lot. Perfect practice makes perfect. So, in practice, we must learn to practice perfect. Because if you don't, it'll show up in your performance. And so that's what we do. We waited a long time to start singing. All of us really started when we were younger, but we quit. The manager, Bishop Palmer, he's sung for years in his younger days as well, on the road, traveling professionally, and then he got saved, and when he got saved, he found out that the singing and what he was doing, what he wanted to do, and what he knew God wanted him to do, just was not working together. And so he got out of it. And so when he came into the group. He and I came into the group. It was a perfect fit for both of us. Now, I feel after I began to sing with the group, I said, oh boy, I feel like I'm in the right place now. And he's felt the same way. I'm back where I always wanted to be. And so it's a thing where, and I enjoy doing it. All of us enjoy doing it. We just love singing, ministering to people, because we don't consider ourselves as just singer per se. Minister, we're minister. Administering the song and ministering the song. We are preachers that sing. And that's what we say we are. We are preachers that sing. We're not singers that preach. So it works for us.
So do sometimes you preach, sing at your church?
Yeah, we do. We do. Last November, that was November 2014, we sung at a church that I pastored out in the southern part of Virginia on a Friday night. It was great. That was the first time we had sung. We sung at one of our churches that we pastored, and it was awesome. And that was when we did a CD, a single, Mary Did You Know?
All right.
Okay, we did that, and that was released the 2 weeks later, after we did that program at my church, and it's on the CD that we have. It's on that CD, Mary Did You Know? And of course, you know, we didn't write that. Everybody know that. But it was rearranged. My son rearranged it and into a quartet style. And I think it went over pretty well.
Yeah, I love this song. I heard you sing it.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I came to your CD release.
Okay.
Yep, y'all did.
Okay.
So yeah, that was
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And y'all was moving around and everything.
Well, look, that's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. I mean, if you're going to do it right. I mean, you have to put yourself in it.
Okay.
You have to I believe that from the bottom of my heart. If you feel nothing, nobody else will.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, did you write y'all music? Because, you know, y'all preach so much. I was just like, maybe the music was coming from y'all, you know, and something writing some of your music.
Mm-hmm.
But you said a little bit of everybody helped with the music. So
Everybody, yeah.
Everybody helped with it. So, and you told me y'all got started because y'all wanted to have that group. So what inspired you? Is it just, and the whole group just inspired because they all wanted to sing one day? What's inspiring though?
Yeah, that all of us wanted to sing.
Okay.
But that was not our priority. Our priority was to preach.
Yes.
So that's why we were preaching rather than singing. We didn't have a group. We didn't know anybody that wanted a group. So we made ourselves satisfied just preaching. And when our bishop chairperson said he wanted a quartet, I said, okay, this might be what I want. And when he did say that, then we were chosen to do it. But I don't think that he had in mind, at least I'm sure, he did not have in mind with us doing what we are doing now. What he had in mind was us singing at our functions
Okay.
only. But we didn't have that in mind.
Okay.
We didn't have that in mind. So, and so that's why we are doing what we're doing now.
All right. So now y'all plan on putting yourself out there for more tours, to go out there and go around, not just at North Carolina, but go plan for more dates.
That's what we are looking forward to.
Okay.
We are looking forward to. North Carolina is just the next state, so we want to go beyond that. So, and I'm originally from North Carolina.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm from Henderson.
Okay.
Henderson, North Carolina, just right across the line, Virginia line. So I'm originally from North Carolina. So, and I know a lot of people in North Carolina. But we are looking forward to going wherever a door is open. If God opens a door, we want to go.
All right, now I'm going to ask you, plan on making a video? I know you thought about it.
We thought about it. We would love to make a video. We would love to make a video. Maybe you can turn us on to that.
Yeah, that's the easy thing. Then you just got to figure out which song you're going to put on the video, and you're going to do all of them and everything.
Okay. We are ready to do it. We are ready to do it. Because we want to be able to minister to people from every venue that we can. We want to do it. We do not have a whole lot of time left. I'll be 75 next month.
Wow.
And
what's your birthday? Birthday was when? May the what?
Midway?
Yeah, what's your birthday? May the what? It's May, you said 75.
May 16th.
May 16th, okay. I'm May 18th.
Oh, really?
Okay.
All right.
He May 8th.
May
The
8th.
cameraman.
Oh, okay. All right, all of us May babies.
Yeah, when we sweet.
Yeah,
my
we
granddad.
are.
My granddad.
All right. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and May 16th, and I will. And I don't have a lot of time left. I know that, so I want to do everything I can to get the music out there.
Right.
I want to do everything I can to get it out there, and that's what we all are striving to do. And what I love about the group also is not a one-man show.
Right.
We work together. We come together and we make our decisions together. And because we know the importance of unity.
Right.
We preach it
Right.
all the time. So if we preach it, we ought to do it.
Right.
And so that's what we do. We stay on the phone with each other on a daily basis almost.
Okay.
Almost a daily basis. And just because Bishop Palmer is in Orlando does not mean that he is a long way away.
All right.
It doesn't feel like he's a long way away.
Okay.
It really doesn't. Because we talk every day. And so that's the way we operate. That's the way we operate.
Now, you say you don't feel you have that much time, so what is your goal that y'all trying to achieve before?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, as far as the quartet is concerned, we want to be able to be, we want our music to be heard nationwide and worldwide. And we want to travel overseas to minister, as well as in the state, within the state. And that's one of our main goals, because it's about ministry. It's not about singing to us. It's about ministry. And I believe, and our group believe, that the world need to hear these old men minister in songs, and we are settled. We are settled, and we are not out there. They're not gonna receive any hip hop from us. They, you know, no.
I'd be surprised if they did.
We can't go there. And we just want to just minister in song, just minister to because somebody is burdened, somebody has some problems, and songs like you know that we sing. I sing a lot. I think I sung it on the night you would at the program. The Lord will make a way somehow. People need to hear that. They need to hear songs like that. Like in Shady Green Pastures.
Right.
We have that, that's on that CD. And we just feel that people have gotten away from those old hymns that really mean something to the heart and to bring you out of your struggle, to help you come out of your struggle. People have forgotten those songs. And so we're going back to them.
Okay.
We're going back to them. We sing them quite a bit. Songs like Steal Away.
Yeah.
I Ain't Got Long to Stay Here. We sing all of those songs. And they are uniquely arranged, but we sing them so that they have meaning to the listener. And there's another song that I do on that CD that you are going to get is I'm going to walk right in and make myself at home. And people need to hear songs like that.
Yeah, we was raised up on songs like that.
Yeah, we were raised up on songs like that.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And I thank God for the group because we want to really minister to people's needs. It can be done. I used to didn't think it could be done
Okay.
through
why?
songs.
Okay.
I thought you had to preach it.
Okay.
But I found out that people, songs, there are certain songs that relate to people's needs and to their trials, to what they're going through. And people have really gotten saved because of a song.
Okay.
I used to didn't think that could happen.
Okay.
I thought that it took preaching to do it, only. And I know it takes preaching, but preaching is not the only thing.
Not the only thing.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And, so what I have done in my life, when I was 19 years old, I got married. Okay, my wife was 17, and I was singing in a quartet down in North Carolina. And I decided then that I was just going to back off of singing. And then after that, I got saved. And that really put the icing on the cake.
Okay.
Okay, I'm through with it. I'm through with it. And so it took 52 years before this came to me. The quartet thing came to me. That I could really get back into singing again. But I made myself satisfied. Those 52 years, I made myself satisfied. But when the time came, Bishop Palmer, excuse me, Bishop Bonner, we just lost him. That was our chief apostle. And when he approached me about singing, I said to myself, I don't know if I can do this now. I didn't say it to him.
Right.
I said to myself, I just told him yes, I would. But the more I did it, the better I liked it. Okay, and I'm hooked now. I'm hooked. Yeah. I am, and I thank God for that.
That's good. So he answered your prayer. It's just
Yeah.
come when you want it, it came when he's ready for you to do it.
When he was ready.
You know, so that's the thing. And to have so many years in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what advice do you give someone else, that want to get into the business and want to sing and, and spread the word,
Well, what I always tell young ministers and singers, your gift will make room for you. You don't make room for your gift. Your gift make room for you. So if you have a gift and you exercise that gift, it's going to make room for you. You don't push your way. You just use your gift. Serve your gift. If you serve your gift, God is going to make sure that He opens doors. And you don't have to push, fuss, fight, and be jealous of somebody else because it seems like they're getting acknowledged and you are not. You don't have to, because God will open doors. And He does, not just will, He does open doors. And so I thank God for opening doors for me. I love what I do now, and I have been able to manage churches that I pastor. I've been able to manage them. And I have been able to manage my diocese that I am over, and with the 20 churches under me, because I can do it without interference from home. Thank God that God gave me a good wife.
Yes.
He gave me a good wife, and she understands. I spend. When I'm home, I spend 8 to 10 hours in my office every day. Every day, 8 to 10 hours in my office every day. I go in my office in the morning, and when I get back home, it'd be 5 or 6 o'clock. She always tell me, "Come back home, time enough for your dinner." When I come back home, she have my dinner ready. But I'm in that office, and the office is next door to the church. That's our church. My church that I pastor, I have a house about 100 feet from the church, and but she does not interfere with that, because she says she wants me to be the best that I can be, and she proved that. And this August the 15th, we will be married 56 years.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, 56 years. Thank God.
Yes, not married so long.
No. Yeah. And I often say she deserves a trophy for staying with me that long.
Now, I understand you saying if you have that gift, you don't have to push it, you don't have to do anything. But some people don't recognize what their gift or figure out where is their gift at yet. So what do you tell people when they're trying to find their gift or their purpose?
Okay. What I do is, and I tell the people at my church this, because they don't know. A lot of them approach me and say, "Well, Pastor, I don't know what I'm supposed to do." Okay, and my advice to them always: if you don't know what you're supposed to do, keep doing something until you find your niche. You don't just sit and back and say, "I don't know what I'm supposed to do." You can't do that, because you'll never do anything. If you work, if you do something is going to become easy for you to do. That's how you find it. You can't find it by sitting down.
All right.
And so I tell people that in my congregation. I tell young people that that are looking for their niche in life. Okay, I always say, what are you doing? What are you doing? Do you you're not going to find it by just sitting back, waiting for it to drop in your lap. Go to work, and don't try to be a copycat, because God doesn't make copies. No way. He make originals. We do the copying. We do the copying, but God makes originals. He does not make copies. And I always tell them, don't try to be a copy of anybody. You don't need to be a carbon copy, because nobody can beat you doing what you do.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's what I tell them. And I used to think that even in a singing career, that I needed to sing like somebody else.
Okay.
And as I became older, I found out that the more I tried to sing like someone else, the more people relate me to them.
Okay.
So I was not an original.
Right.
Oh, you sound like so-and-so. You sound like so-and-so. And that really got to me. I don't want to be related to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be an original. So I began to work on my own style.
Right. Right.
And it worked for me.
Yeah. Your own style should
I get there, all of my troubles will be over, and I'm gonna walk right in. Satan trying to stop me, but I'm going just the same. I am determined to make it in Jesus' name. When I reach that city, I never go to wrong, and I'm gonna walk right in and make myself at home. Yes, I'm going.
Yes, I'm going, and my Savior's going with me.
On to glory,
On to glory, where my loved ones waiting for me.
when I get there,
When I get there,
all of my troubles,
troubles will be over.
and I'm gonna walk right in.
And make myself at home.
I'm gonna walk right in,
Walk right in,
walk right in,
walk right in,
walk right in. Oh,
walk right in,
I'm gonna walk right in.
walk right in,
Road is rough and rocky,
walk right in,
going on just the same.
walk right in,
There'll be joy forever,
walk right in,
peace will forever reign.
walk right in,
There'll be no strife and sorrow like the world from which I came. Walk right in,
walk right in,
I'm gonna walk right in.
walk right in.
Oh yeah,
Yes, I'm going.
I'm going,
Yes, I'm going.
I'm going to heaven.
Yes, I'm going.
I can hardly wait,
Yes,
yeah,
I'm going.
till I get home.
Yes, I'm going.
No more sickness,
Yes, I'm going.
oh Lord, no more
Yes,
pain,
I'm going.
no more operating.
Yes, I'm going.
Yes, I'm gonna walk,
Right in and make myself.
oh yeah. I'm gonna walk right in and make myself at home.